lava tubes. Today we're gonna find some lava tubes, hopefully, and I'm gonna try and take the dogs in there and see if we can go hiking in there. I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to hike on there. It depends on how rough the ground is. Just because, you know, it's like lava rock and it can get pretty sharp. I'm hoping it's like kind of dirt. There's dirt or broken down, softer, like crumbly kind of lava through the ground, so the dogs can kind of walk through it, hike through it. I really have no idea what it's going to be like. I've seen one picture and I tried to look away as quick as I could because I like things to be kind of a surprise. So we'll see what it's like. If I decide that the dogs can't go in because it's going to hurt their feet, then I'm going to have to drive back here to camp and drop the dogs off and leave them in the trailer, and then I'll head back on my own and do the full hike. Like I'm saying, I don't know if it's gonna be a full-on cave, if it's gonna be tunnels. I think it's a cave. It's called a cave, like lava tube caves or something like that. Hopefully I can do some hiking through it. You know, maybe it's long, maybe it's short, but I'm hoping it's long. I'm hoping there's a lot of hiking to do underground. I got my trusty headlamp with maybe half a charge. I forgot to charge it last night, but I do have a backup battery system in my pack with a cable, and then this will run off of that without even having to charge it, but it will charge it as well. And then I got the dog lights here. Somebody sent me these, and these have been working really awesome. I put reflective tape on the back here, and they have a red flashing light, which I think is probably what I'll use, and that works really well. And it's also got 2 levels of the bright white light that you can set on here. And these are rechargeable as well. I'll have a link to these if you want to get these for yourself. I think they were like $12 for the pair, something like that. And I really like them so far. They've lasted for, I think I've had them about 6 months. Like I said, a subscriber sent me these, and you know, every once in a while I get some equipment that I really dig, and so far this is one of them for the dogs. They charge up with a USB port right here, and these actually have a full charge, so these are going to work good in the cave. So I'm prepared. If I can get the dogs in there, then we're set. We're going to be set. And I also wanted to point out Mr. Echo. Take a look at Echo. He had, you can see on his cheek there, he had a little run-in, which I'll get into on another episode. He's doing really good, but I was worried. I was kind of worried when I saw what happened to him. And by the way, we ran into a porcupine yesterday, and he was on his leash, so he didn't get mixed up with the porcupine, luckily. He wanted to, though. But I'll save this story for a different video, so stay tuned for that. Dodger is just like super wise. He didn't even go after the porcupine. He didn't even care. He just kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. He's wise. He's so wise. He's a good dog. And he's strong too. So stay tuned for a pretty awesome adventure video on the Got Out channel. All right, we're off. So we're leaving the trailer behind. We've been camped here a few nights. It's been a pretty good camp. It's the only problem with it is this road right here. You can see it's all dirt and dust. And with the wind that we've been getting, you know, maybe 15-mile-an-hour winds come through here and blow the dust into the trailer. So the trailer's getting pretty dusty, which, you know, that's just one of the things you kind of have to deal with. We got about 5 miles to drive on this dirt road. It's a pretty easy dirt road. And the thing is, I have a truck with a little lift on it. So I'm usually never really worried about driving on dirt roads. This road's super easy, but you know, if I'm not towing the trailer, it's like I pretty much have no fear about driving on any road because I can back up and turn around. There's definitely things I can't get through, that's for sure. And when that happens, I just back up and turn around. So when you're in a small vehicle, like if you were in a van, you know, it's pretty easy. You can go anywhere and just find a place to turn around super easily. When you're towing a trailer, or if you have a big RV, then you got to be a lot more cautious. So there's something about having a small vehicle that gives you a lot more freedom than we already have with the trailer. So there's people camped out here. This camp right here is about half a mile from our campsite, and take a look at, you can see all the stuff that they've got out. I mean, they've got all kinds of chairs and boards and barrels, And that's the kind of thing I don't like to do to my camp, because I want to be ready to go whenever I want to go. And also, I don't want to look like I'm living there or, I don't know, creating trash. I just like to keep a really tidy kind of looking camp, like real simple. A lot of times I don't even put out my patio mat or my awning. And I definitely don't put out things like more than one chair or maybe a little table every once in a while. But I don't have like boards and like statues and all kinds of crap just laying around in camp. I just like to keep it simple. So here's a smoke ahead sign, and in my last video I was showing you how there's logging going on around here, and what I've also noticed is, yeah, there's heavy smoke. A couple mornings we've had really heavy smoke, and like to the point where you're it's a little bit hard to breathe even inside the trailer, and so that's been kind of unpleasant. And luckily it burns off once the sun comes out for a couple hours and the wind blows it away. So I guess that's probably why we haven't had smoke like this morning, because of the wind. Okay, this is kind of bumming me out. That's the only sign I've seen that says no pets. It says pets are prohibited. They cannot be expected to hold their business while in the cave. Well, that's true. So yeah, that kind of sucks. No pets. It's funny because I don't think of my dogs as pets. Like, I just think of them as part of the got out team, you know, and we live out here. Like, we're full-time outdoors, you know. We got a trailer and a truck, and we do this full-time. We're full-time nomads on the road, traveling, staying in mostly free areas out in the wilderness, out in the desert, out in the forest or the mountains. So it's funny when I see a sign that says like, oh, your dogs aren't allowed here, because it just feels like, it feels silly, because we go everywhere, especially together, right? I do follow those rules, and you know, I get it, because if everybody brings dogs in there and they're pissing and pooping, you know, I brought poop bags and stuff like that, but it's true, they would probably take a leak in there. So I do follow the rules. It says no pets. I was so excited because as I got there's all these signs that say like no camping, day use only, campfires prohibited. So there's a lot of warning signs and rules, but there was nothing that said no dogs, no pets. So I got really excited, and just up until the last minute, right at that sign that you saw, it says no pets, and it's kind of small and whatever. I'm sure when I go back there's going to be people in there with their pets, because a lot of those people, you could tell they're just coming out for the day. They're not camped out here. If you bring a pet all this way through these dirt roads, through the forest, and you get here to the lava caves, and that's what you've been planning to do all day, but you got your pets, then you're not likely to leave them in the car, especially because it's kind of warm out, and so it's going to be too hot to leave them in the car. You're going to take them with you inside. You're going to hope that no ranger like ends up going in the cave the same time you do and gives you a ticket for having your pet in there, or just gives you a stern talking to or whatever. I'm trying to avoid that, so that's why I'm going to bring the dogs back to camp. I'll put them in the trailer where they'll be totally safe, and then I'll go do the hike by myself. It's not as fun, you know, but I got all the subscribers with me, I guess, so it's just me and you guys right now through the caves. I'm like, oh, I'm a mountain man. But you know what? I'm claustrophobic. Right away, you're just going through these little tiny passageways, and I would not do this because it doesn't look safe. There's like boulders, and if I have to get to a point where I have to crawl, then that's gonna freak me out. So a guy came out and he was kind of huffing and puffing. I asked him if he made it all the way to the end. He was real stern about it, and then I saw the next people behind me ask him if it was any good, and he kind of gave them the cold shoulder too, so I think he was a little freaked out. Did that guy seem freaked out? Yeah.
I just asked him if everything was good and he didn't answer.
It's scary. I'm scared a little bit. I can turn around if I decide not to do this crawl through. The creepy crawl through. Honestly, it's not a good idea for me to do a crawl because I'm by myself. I could freak out. Okay, now is this the crawl? Oh crap. I get it. Okay. I'm gonna crawl through this a little bit. It's not like belly crawling, which would be horrible for me. It's kind of like crawling hands and knees, which now that I say that, that sounds kind of horrible.